What's going on? Sunny here from Personal Mastery Quest, and today I'm coming at you with a very casual video. I want to talk about the coordination of intention principle, or the advantage method. You can call it whatever. It's the same principle in theory. Now, today's video is going to be a breakdown of a quote from Vadim Zeland's new book that describes this principle. The new book is called The Tufti Priestess, something like that. I don't know the exact title, but I'll put it in the description box below. I greatly recommend you read it. It's much shorter than Transurfing. However, you're going to have a difficult time grasping it if you haven't read Transurfing. Vadim Zeland himself says at the end of the new book that the new book is almost like high school, whereas the reality Transurfing series, the 5-book series, is like elementary school. So the reality Transurfing series is really where you get to know how reality works and what you can do with it. And in this one, you take a little step up. You go deeper into how reality really works and how you can influence and impact and change your reality. Okay, so what we're going to be discussing from the new book, and it also exists in the reality Transurfing series, is the coordination of intention. Let me get the quote real quick. By the way, I like doing these videos where I break down certain quotes, so if you do enjoy it as well, let me know in the comment section below. Maybe I'll make a series out of this. Maybe I'll do one a week where I just pick one of my favorite quotes from Transurfing or anything that I read, and I really break it down for you and give you my own analysis of it, okay? So the quote, again, it's from the new book, the Tufti Princess one, and the quote says, "You always insist on everything going according to your plan, and in doing so, you obstruct the implementation of the plan. By expressing dislike, you involuntarily and unconsciously compose a worse reality for yourself. To avoid mangling your reality and instead turning it into a wonderful world in all regards, you need to implement one simple principle: seek the advantage in everything. Literally seek and draw out the advantage in any annoying situation and in any event that causes you to respond even a little bit negatively. Set yourself the goal of seeking out the advantage in life. The law has it. If you allow yourself to be guided by the principle of advantage, life will throw fewer and fewer events your way that are damaging." Now, that's a lot to take in, right? And again, this is called the advantage method in the new book, and it is the same thing as the coordination of intention in the reality Transurfing process, okay? So let's break down this quote now, little by little. The first part is, you always insist on everything going according to your plan, and in doing so, you obstruct the implementation of the plan. By expressing dislike, you involuntarily and unconsciously compose a worse reality for yourself. I have mentioned it in my videos many times before, and I really preach the act of non-resistance. And the reason I'm so adamant about non-resistance is that the flow of life is trying to help you. It is trying to bring you to your goal if you have set a clear goal for yourself. We've talked about that a lot on this channel, as you know already, right? When you set a goal and you make it clear to your mind that, okay, this is what I'm going after, this is what I want my life to be, now the flow of your life has been directed towards that goal. You have shifted your ship's sail towards that reality. And the flow of life events that are coming now and sequentially are helping you to get there. But these events don't follow a logical trail. So sometimes you might come across an event where you totally don't know how that event could help you achieve your goal, right? Your mind will never know how this could logically possibly help. But your mind is limited in its worldview. Your mind only sees what has been and what currently is. It has no idea of what will come next, what has yet to become. So that's why when something happens that isn't fit to your mind's plan, the mind expresses so much dislike and negativity towards it. And in doing so, it ruins the flow For example, you want to start your own business and you start working on it day by day, a little, like 2 hours at a time, while still working at your job. Now next week comes and randomly you just get fired from your job and your mind completely loses it because it's now thinking, man, I don't have a regular job anymore. How am I going to support my new business venture? But maybe you needed to lose your job to go full-time in on the new business venture, and that was going to become a huge success, right? Like that's a possibility that your mind just overlooks. And because it was in the mind's script that, okay, I'm going to build my new business while I'm doing this job, now the mind completely loses it and it acts out negatively and does a whole bunch of things, tries to control the script, and in doing so actually obstructs the flow. Obstructs, it literally gets in the way of life helping it. Do you see what I mean? So by expressing dislike, you involuntarily and unconsciously compose a worse reality for yourself. The flow of life is trying to help you to get to your goal. But the flow of life is not going to always be logical. And there will come times where you come across certain events that might initially seem negative, but they are not negative in nature. That's just your meaning towards them. You decide to give them a negative meaning. The event is just an event. It is neither a positive or a negative event, but it transforms into something when you give it that meaning. So now it will be a negative event because you have attributed it that meaning. And in doing so, you unconsciously compose a worse reality for yourself. Because the event was neutral and you gave it a negative meaning, now going forward in your life, in the future, that event will always hold a negative meaning and unfold in a negative manner for you. Whereas you had complete control, complete ability to make that event a positive event, or label that event a positive event, and that is what it would have become. You see where I'm leading on to? The next part of the quote says, to avoid mangling your reality and instead turning it into a wonderful world in all regards, you need to implement one simple principle: seek the advantage in everything. Literally seek and draw out the advantage in any unknowing situation and in any event that causes you to respond a little bit negatively. Set yourself the goal of seeking out the advantage in life. So now, in order to not get in your own way, you have to adopt this one simple principle and make it like your motto in life. You seek out the advantage in everything. You consciously compose you coordinate your intention consciously. You always choose what event holds what meaning. So let's just say you are at work and you come across a really annoying employee, a colleague, who is always just bugging you, and you can't possibly comprehend how this annoying aspect of your life could be something that's good for you, right? This colleague that causes you so much stress and irritation, how could that lead to anything positive? Well, your mind can certainly not know, because again, your mind only knows what has been and what currently is. It has no idea what has yet to become, what has yet to be. So what you do to console the mind and to not get in your own way is to constantly affirm to yourself that this is going to unfold in a positive way for me. This is great. This, whatever currently is the way it should be. Everything is unfolding the way that it should. Whatever currently is okay. I accept what currently is. And you leave it at that, and you simply just observe. You don't react to it negatively. And soon, once you start to adopt this principle, you will start to see that little annoying circumstances and situations turn into something positive down the line. And if they don't turn into positive down the line, then just by the act of you not constantly giving them your attention, they just dissolve and wither away. They're no longer a part of your reality in the long run. Any problem is only a problem because you constantly give it your attention in a problematic way. Think about that. Nothing in your life can exist if you don't give it your attention. But the more attention you give to something, the more attention it gets, or the more reality it gets. So if you have money problems and you constantly just stress about money, think about money, well, now that money problem is becoming a greater reality for you in your life. Do you see what I mean? You have to question yourself. Why do you even react negatively to certain things? Really ask yourself this. Why do you react positively to certain events? And then why do you react negatively to certain events? And then if you're really honest with yourself and you really try to see through this illusion, the only reason you have a certain way of reacting to certain triggers in your environment is because all your life you have been conditioned to do so. All your life you have seen your family, your friends, people in the movies, everywhere outside react a certain way to certain things. So your mind has been programmed with, okay, these are the positive triggers and these are the negative triggers. And I have to react this way to these triggers and this way to these triggers. And so without questioning it, because we're never taught these things, we just act like puppets. Someone gave you a compliment, oh, you feel good about yourself. Oh, today's great. The next day, someone insults you, you lose your whole mind and you can't stop thinking about it and you lose your balance. And you hate that person. Do you see what I mean? Like, we have conditioned responses for so many triggers in our reality. Now, what you have to start doing is to start to question those triggers and question those responses. You crying because someone insulted you is not righteous. It's not natural. It's just something that has been programmed in your mind. It's not the way that you're supposed to react. It's just something that has been programmed. So that's just, now it's done so many times that is just what happens when someone insults you. Now you have to start reversing that. Anytime you come across anything negative in your reality, you have to start to catch yourself, like wake up in that moment. You know, usually when something bad happens in reality, you tend to fall deeper into sleep. You become completely unconscious and you lose all control of your actions. Now, you have to wake up and gain conscious control and see, okay, how would I usually react to this? And now how am I going to choose to react to this? Swap out all of your negative reactions with positive reactions. And if you can't go that far yet, swap it out with neutral reactions. I remember a couple of months ago when I was really practicing this principle and trying to practice waking up in those kinds of situations. I remember I was driving and someone rear-ended my car. And that was the first time that I was able to really catch myself within the moment. And I remember as soon as someone rear-ended my car, I stopped the car and I just like laughed to myself. I giggled a little bit because I knew that, okay, this was a trigger, right? And I mean, it already has happened, so there's no point expressing negativity towards it. But this was a trigger and I woke up and I was so proud of myself. And I remember because I didn't react to the event in any way. I didn't even like express any sort of resistance towards it. I just actually laughed and just, handled the situation as it needed to be handled. It was like, it ended up becoming something positive for me. The car was a lease and it had to be returned soon, but it had other scratches on it from a previous accident. And now because of this new accident, which was not my fault, I got those scratches fixed too for no cost. I got the whole car fixed and I had to pay nothing. And I didn't get hurt. Thank you, God. But do you see what I mean? Like when you express positivity towards a negative event, the negative event loses its power over you, and now it actually turns into something positive for you in the future. It's truly magical. I really encourage you to try this out. Swipe out all of your negative responses and replace them with positive ones. This will allow you to not get in your own way by getting in the way of the flow of the script. Okay? So let's move on to the last part of the quote. I know I've been rambling for a while. How long has this been? 15 minutes. Okay. The last part is, The law has it that if you allow yourself to be guided by the principle of advantage, life will throw fewer and fewer events your way that are damaging. And this is huge. So once you get into the habit of watching your reaction and consciously attributing a positive meaning to seemingly negative events, well, now life will actually throw you less and less negative events. And this isn't some, crazy theory. This actually makes sense, and here's why. And the reason is from reality Transurfing, if you're a fan of that. Every single time you express a negative meaning to something, you express dissatisfaction, irritation, and fear, and just anything, any negative emotion. That's energy that you're radiating, right? And as you know, the energy that you radiate, the energy that you put out into this world is what you get back. So the more negativity that you radiate is the more negativity you get back. Every single time you radiate more and more negativity and you express dissatisfaction, you transfer on to lifelines that have more of that kind of energy. So you are currently on a certain lifeline, which has its own characteristics of energy. Now you come across an event that pissed you off, and now you're really pissed, you are really angry, you are expressing a lot of dissatisfaction and negativity towards it. Now, in that moment of intention, you might switch over, unconsciously you switch over into a lifeline where more of those emotions exist. Which means more events that cause you those emotions exist. More accidents, more people always pissing you off, more annoyances, So instead, when you do the opposite of that, when you express positive reactions to everything and you maintain that balance and you always feel good within, regardless of what is happening outside, you tend to your well-being and happiness. Now, over time, little by little, you switch on to lifelines where more of those emotions exists, where more events that caused you those emotions exist. More well-being, more happiness, more abundance, more money, more health, everything. You have to see this as a game. You have to play this like a game. And that's the only way this becomes possible for you. Don't take this whole life seriously, okay? Play it like a game. Become conscious of your reactions. And know that these reactions aren't legit. They're not natural. They're just something that's been programmed in your mind. And you have every bit of power. You have the authority to change the reactions. You are in control. Now you have to actually consciously gain back that control little by little. And you do that by changing your reactions. Always resort to the thing that I always say. You are either creating your reality or you're reacting to reality. Okay? You can't do both. If you're reacting always negatively, then you are just acting like the unconscious puppet. And you are just acting like a victim. And in that mode, you are not creating reality. So that, my friend, is the advantage method, or the coordination of intention. It means that you consciously form an intention for every event. Whenever something happens to you, you don't just blurt out whatever response is conditioned within your mind through your childhood. Instead, you consciously choose what you will intend for this event to mean for you now and in the future. And in doing so, little by little, you gain greater control of your reality. Okay? I encourage you, I welcome you to try this out in your life, from the littlest of things to the biggest things, and see the results for yourself. And the results might shock you. And the speed at which the results come might shock you. So I know it's a long video today, but I hope you enjoyed it. Again, let me know if you want me to do more of these quote casual videos. Put that in the comment section below. But that's all I have for today. If you did enjoy it and gain value from it, give me a thumbs up and share this video with a friend who would also find it helpful. If you would like to get coaching with me one-on-one, the link for that is in the description box below. But other than that, subscribe to this channel if you haven't already, and I will see you in the next video.